it's Tara with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. Welcome, welcome. I hope you guys are all having a glorious day. If you don't know who I am, you can check out the information down below. You can check out my website, kittensweightsandtarot.com, learn a little bit more about me. Maybe you want to go check out our witchy shop. I say our, for it is James and I that run Desert Cauldron over on Etsy, but you can also follow us on Instagram at desert.cauldron. Maybe check out his crystal shop, Light of Rigo, which is over on Etsy. But all of that information is down below, all the contact and newsletter, which is coming up, which reminds me, Thursday next week is Lughnassadh. Some people call it Lammas, but it is the first harvest of the season. So we are now in the late summer, getting ready for early fall. Super excited about that. I have like everything all kind of lined up. I myself will not have like a harvest yet, I guess, in the traditional sense, as my corn are still growing. But perhaps by the third harvest, Samhain, we should have corn. I have a pumpkin that's growing, so hopefully he hangs in there. It's one of those Big Macs pumpkins. Um, and our zucchini is going crazy, so that's cool. But anyway, today we have some cool things cooked up for you guys. We have our weekly reading, of course, but as you can tell, I'm standing in a different place because I have the camera positioned perfectly for us to hang out with the hummingbirds. So I have a feeder that's like right up near the window, and this happens to be the hummingbirds' favorite feeder. They have two other feeders, but for some reason they love people to watch them. Like it's not fun if people aren't watching their cool acrobatics and their little turf wars that they have going on. Now, especially now that we have the like orange type hummingbirds that have shown up this season, following the Anna's hummingbirds and our like orange, or not orange, but purple throated hummingbirds. So you're going to see a lot of them and we're going to chat with them. We're going to hang out. But anyway, let's see who all is here. Angela's here. Hello, hello. Janine, hello. Our girl Susie, our mighty moderator. She says, Tara and chat, much love. Liesel, our other mighty moderator, is here. She says, hey, Susie, darling. Um, and Susie's saying, looking beautiful. Well, thank you. I figured, I'd dress for our hummingbirds today, which by the way, I have my little like hummingbird earrings on and I have my little like mother of pearl necklace that was my grandmother. So I'm like, you know what? We're gonna go all hummingbird today. But anyway, so welcome everybody. Hopefully you're having a glorious morning. Let me know what you guys have cooked up for today. Any plans, anything that you guys are doing later today or possibly this week? Let me know. Maybe your Lughnassadh plans, your Lammas plans, your first harvest plans. But I do want to say thank you to all of my moderators, first and foremost. Thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you to everybody who joins these chats. And I feel like I'm giving like an Oscar speech, and I want to thank. No, really, I love you guys. Thank you. So thank you to all of my YouTube members as well. So Liesel and Kayla and Nancy and Mark. Thank you guys so much. And all of my patrons. I've been getting some more patrons lately. So we have Myrna and Karen. Thank you. Palu, Liesel, Heather, Lily, Dana, Jamie, Kayla, Syrian, Brandy, Brian, and Jason. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with our weekly reading. And then let's go chat with these hummingbirds. Afterwards, I will still do my super chats and super stickers. So if there's anybody who has like a burning question and they want to answer during the live chat, we'll do super chats and super stickers after our chat with the hummingbirds. And then we'll have our channeled guided meditation and we'll call it a Sunday. So, all right. Here's some decks that I thought would be fun for this week. I have the Animal Allies Oracle. Susie says, cute. Lisa saying, hey, Tara. Hello, peeps. Hello, hello. Shadowlands is like, hello, or hey, guppies. Hello, hello. I, of course, have my Wally's World. I busted out my Animal Apothecary Oracle. And I figured I'd pick us a crystal for this week. So I have my daily crystal inspiration, and I have my botanical inspirations. So I thought like a flower and a crystal for the week, something for us to meditate on. If you actually have that flower or crystal, cool beans. But I don't think people need everything in physicality. Everything's energy, so we can connect to anything, anyone, anytime. Time doesn't exist. All right. And then I got a new deck, and it's no surprise that it's a cat deck. So I got the Paws Tarot. I got this on Amazon. It says Future in Your Paws. It's super cute. And I got it, it was bundled with another deck, but that other deck was missing the Ace of Cups. So I have to send it back so they can send me a replacement. I was so bummed out. I was like, boo. But anyway, we have this deck to play with. So that's cool. All right, so let me know what decks you guys are working with today, and or maybe even this week, pulling cards with us. Maybe you are working with runes. Maybe you are using your pendulum. Maybe you're just pulling some good old fashioned channeled information, which I'm all about that. So yeah, let us know what you're working with. So that we can have a more well-rounded weekly reading. I think that the more points of view, the more especially intuitive points of view there are, the more rich and well-rounded that reading. So I highly encourage people to join in, pull some messages along with us. If you are in the future watching the replay, definitely watch what's going on in the chat or read what's going on in the chat. There's a lot of lovely messages, a lot of fantastic people in there. So definitely check them out. All right. Oh, Kayla is here. Hello. Susie says that she loves the arts. A little pause, tarot. All right, everybody's saying hello. Excellent. Okay, so first, let's go ahead and pull a card from Wally's World and just kind of get a feel for like the upcoming week. Okay, that didn't take long. The card like literally just like flipped itself over before I could finish shuffling. So, all right, that'll be our card. I'm gonna put that off to the side. And I also want to pull a daily crystal. So crystal, maybe whose energy we can meditate on this week. Maybe we can ask our crystal ally if they would like to work with us this week. How they would like to aid us, how we can aid it. Okay, these cards are just flipping themselves over. That's cool. And also let's pull a flower because I'm feeling rather gardeny. I love tending to the garden. This has been amazeballs. Okay. All right. Shadowland says I got only a seesaw with one end lower than the other in tasseography earlier. It was bottom of the cup. So one end lower than the other. So a little seesaw. So perhaps, if the seesaw wasn't balanced, it could mean that that there is an imbalance right now. So you might want to go inwards and find out maybe where that imbalance is. Could be spiritually, could be emotionally, could be physically, could be, something going on in the 3D world. But yeah, something's like on a seesaw and it's kind of lopsided could point towards imbalance, but could also point towards um, needing to take a break, when the seesaw is not really in motion. We're just like taking a little break. But thank you, by the way, for the donation. And Susie was thinking maybe it could be pulled in two directions. That's also really good too. Um, I always loved seesaws, by the way. Like when I was in high school, me and my friends used to go over to one of the local parks. We'd play on those old school like metal seesaws because in our neighborhood, all the like jungle gym equipment, like park equipment, was still like metal, old school. A lot of it was still from the 70s. Like the little ducks you could ride that are like on this giant spring and you just like, we're all a bunch of dorks. Janine says, give me an idea. Can you give me a reading on chakra that needs focusing on? I'll pay. Oh, okay. So we could do that after our chat with the hummingbirds today. We'll do our super chats and super stickers then. So we'll do our weekly reading now. Then we'll hang out with our hummingbirds, and then we can go on with our questions, our super chats and super stickers. So thank you. That would be amazing. Okay, so for the theme this week, this is in my Wally's World Oracle. Let's see, where did I put Wally? There he is. He is on the ground just chilling right there. But this was in Viterbo, which was a place I stayed in Italy when I was singing in the opera out there. And I just really love their staircases. Astrid, hello, hello. Yes, Janine, we will definitely take a look at that. Thank you, thank you. And John says, "Hi, I saw a hummingbird in my acting session this morning." Really? They got some messages. Okay, so let's see what's going on in here. Our theme for this week. Okay. Okay. So I'm getting that for this week. Although there might be things that we're working on, situations that we might be in, or that we find ourselves in, or that we attract to ourselves, um, that depending on our mood might be seen as unpleasant. So let's say if we were already in kind of a lower vibrational state, we feel like the world is upon our shoulders, I'm feeling kind of beat down, and then these situations occur, of course, it's going to feel exacerbated, and the situations but it's actually gonna be okay. Sorry, our connection seems to be getting a little weird. But yeah, so it does seem as though what normally would be considered a difficult or unpleasant situation this week is actually going to be a welcomed situation because our perspective has changed because of the healing that we have done has kind of helped us to change that perspective. And this is also a great opportunity for us to reflect and take a look at it and say, you know what? In the past or even last week, I totally would have been like, "Drr," this would have derailed me. I would have had a horrible week. But now I'm looking at it through new eyes or fresh eyes. I feel a lot different this time. And so this is how we can oftentimes gauge our healing is when old triggers come back around and they just don't trigger us anymore. And so this is kind of a breakthrough for a lot of us this week. And definitely gives us the encouragement to keep doing what we're doing, keep healing, keep exploring, keep going inwards for those answers. So I think it's going to be a pretty good week. All right. Um, Let me go back here. Everybody's saying hello to Astrid. Astrid was saying that this is one of her favorite cards. Excellent. um, John is scrying. Janine said, "Hello, Susie and everyone." Mwah! Shadowland says, "Isn't bottom the cup distant future and tasseography?" I don't go by hard set rules, so I just go with my intuition. So if it feels like something that's more in the future, I just go with that. If it feels like it's closer, I go with that. But definitely go with your intuition. Um, ooh, Cebu is here. Hello, hello. Says, "Hi, I'm new here. I'd love a general reading, please." Well, we do have super chats and super stickers after we do our little chat with the hummingbirds today. So yeah, if there are people that still would like some questions, I know that Janine, I would have to get to her um, reading, Janine Barnes. But yeah, I would be more than happy to pull some cards for people through those super chats and super stickers after a little chat with the hummingbirds. And Sabu said, "More than happy to donate." Excellent. Lisa got Bloodowed says, "Renewal, authenticity, freedom, and manifestation. Break free and reclaim your true self." Love it. And John said, "Hummingbirds showed up when I was scrying." Really? Well, I mean, this is just for me personally. I always I connect hummingbirds with ancestors, spirit, My own higher self, when it's trying to speak to me, often comes in the form of a hummingbird, especially when they're acting a little more unusual than normal, which they're not completely normal, you know. At least our hummingbirds, they're kind of goofy. Astrid said, I always see this light at the end of a difficult climb, but this light is very inviting. Yes, and that's definitely what we're getting here as well, which, by the way, hello, Astrid, is one of our newest channel members. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I have a crystal for this week and I have a flower for this week. So maybe we could tap into these. You don't have to have them physically. Of course, we can tap into everything energetically. But for the crystal, I have apophyllite. And apophyllite says, stay positive. And so, what I love about apophyllite, whether I have it in my actual hands or not, is that it helps to give me clarity of vision when I feel like I have my horse blinders on. So, definitely what we were talking about with this week is if we are trying to, we're moving along, we're doing our things, and old triggers come back around. Now that we have healed a lot of those old triggers and they're not really triggering us like they used to, now that we have this perspective, we can tap into this like apophyllite energy and kind of broaden that perspective into, okay, so what other areas did this bleed into? This old trigger. We may think that, let's say we get triggered when, uh, oh, there's a trigger that happens quite a bit for a lot of people, and it's some people just don't like when other people raise their voices because it harkens back to old childhood trauma of possibly parents. They don't like to see their parents unhappy. Parents raise their voices. Sometimes a fight ensues, and so it's our fight or flight reflex. We get really triggered when we hear people raise their voices because it brings back those old memories. And even though it may have nothing to do with us, we're projecting our childhood onto what's happening in the present time in front of us. But let's say we've done a lot of healing on that, and now we're just going along, and we hear a couple of people, a couple strangers, and they're raising their voices to each other, and you're like, meh, doesn't really concern me, and you keep moving right along. And then you realize, you know what, in the past, I would have been real freaked out. I would have had anxiety, even though it had nothing to do with me. It was just I just hate hearing people fight. I hate hearing people, raise their voices. And then we kind of tap into this apophyllite energy. And it's like, okay, so that one trigger, what other areas in my life did that trigger bleed into? Um, because it wouldn't be just hearing people raise their voices, right? It would be bleeding into me speaking my own truth, bleeding into me standing my ground, being authentic, because there might be this tendency to want to keep the peace, so to speak. So I don't want to, step on any toes. I don't want to, make anybody upset or anybody angry with me, because I remember in childhood, I didn't like my parents getting angry with me, even if it wasn't an abusive type thing. A lot of kids want to please their parents when we're growing up. That's our programming. And so we start to see that it's going off in all these different areas of life, and it's really affecting who we truly are in the present. And apophyllite can help us to gain that perspective. But of course, if we're going to work with our crystal allies, always ask, what can I do for you too? We want to have an even exchange. Apophyllite, what do you want to know? At me in human form, what do you want to know about being human? What do you want to know about my higher self? What do you want to know about this world? Okay, so flower, we have iris, and it says rainbows and messages. When it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. And it's a quote by an unknown woman. All right, let's go back here. Doot, 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 doot. Silver Star says, Grand Rising, beautiful Terra Chat. Hello. Hey, Heather. Oh my gosh. Lisa says, fairy, protection, playfulness, guardians, and nature's magic. Yes. Shadowland says that she's starting a second channel. It's called Edie Shadow Night. It's going to one of my paranormal channels. Just started to record videos for it. Really? Ooh, a paranormal channel. That's up my alley. It's like a paranormal day every day here, but that's really cool. I'm really proud of you. Excellent. So this is thank you, Shadowlands. Tara will answer at the end. Congrats on the second channel. Yes, definitely. All right. Okay. Okay. So, um, let's use this pause tarot. See if we can get any more information for this week. And then let's chat with our hummingbirds. Holy schmoly. I can't believe that just happened. The cards literally exploded out of my hands. So, pardon me while I try to pick these up. Pardon me while I burst into flames. I've had enough of the world and its people's mindless games. So pardon me while I burn and rise above the flames. Pardon me, pardon me. Okay, where are the rest of those cards? This is crazy. I could have sworn the rest of the deck flew out somewhere. Okay, hold on. I gotta move all these blankies. Huh. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Okay, I guess I got all the cards. That was strange. I could have sworn more cards fell over here. Okay. I mean, Shadowland starts talking about paranormal. Talk about paranormal. Things got real weird over here real fast. I've not seen my cards explode out of my hands like that. That was strange. Maybe I need to pull a card on it. Ah, you know? Okay. Let me just do a little count. Make sure we got 78 here. 2, 4, 6, 8. 18, 20, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 68, 70, 6. We are missing 2 cards somewhere. Well, I'll have to look for those later, but that was really strange. Okay, we'll use a different deck, I suppose. Oh my gosh. Silverstar saying, yes, congratulations. That's awesome sauce. Essence, oh, hey, what's up? Good to see you too. Susie says, Shadowlands, I'm trying to find it so I can sub and put in the link. Oh, that would be great. Jolene is here. Hello, hello. Shadowlands says that I'm kind of annoyed that I get these big gaps and misspelled words in the super chats. Well, I can kind of piece it together. I don't know. Sometimes technology lately, especially like spell check, is trying to spell check my words into words that don't exist. Like I tried to type out the word vote. It says, you meant vite, right? VITE. I was like, vite. What the heck? I'm trying to write practicing. You meant piecing, right? What? What? It's like this doesn't even exist. Everybody's saying hello. Silverstar says, so cool. This one, my ancestors always show up as hummingbirds and other meanings. Of course, I saw the cutest hummingbird statue. I won it in a local shop, dang temptation. um, John said, shifted dimensions in the middle of shuffling. I know, right? I was like, what the heck? Silverstar says, cheeky. Um, all right, so Shadowlands is grabbing us a link for her new channel. And Jolene said, hope y'all are having a good day. Oh, we're having a fabulous day. Ashwini, we will definitely pull some cards after our chat with the hummingbirds. We'll do super chats and super stickers if you're interested. Okay, so let's get another message for this week then. And we have Hawk. So definitely this is all about perspective, right? Um, because here we have, going up the stairs, but it's a beautiful lining of ivy and flowers. And so what may seem arduous or difficult, or what was once seen as difficult, is now seen more enjoyable. Okay, and then we're back. We have apophyllite, which is helping us with the broader perspective. We have iris, which is being able to see kind of beyond what our five senses are looking at, look at things more in an intuitive aspect. Sometimes we do really get into our human suit, but we have to remember, even in those times, that we are a spiritual being as well. And we do have that broader perspective beyond what those five senses can see, hear, taste, touch, smell. And Hawk is also coming in as a reminder for that. That when Hawk is on the ground, it's really hard for, a hawk to go hunting, for a hawk to find friends or mate. But once, it's up in the sky, it can see everything, and everything that seemed so massive now seems so trivial in the larger picture. So let's keep that in mind for this week. Okay. So thank you, all the folks coming on in. Lisa got Excalibur, sovereignty, power, truth, and action. I love it. And Jolene said, love hawks. They are so cool. Um, Susie saying hello to her. Shadowland says another way to find it, Susie, is clicking on her main page. I have the link in the channel info for my main channel. Oh, okay. That's right, because Shadowlands has that new paranormal channel happening. All right, you guys. So let's go hang out with some hummingbirds. I'm going to flip this around and we're going to do this like this. And there were a bunch of hummingbirds like just a second ago. So you just have to be patient. They come back around. All right. Oh, you guys can kind of see over there is my little mini garden for now, until we get bigger, I guess. So kind of right here, my little corn is growing. I have a little pumpkin that's starting to grow some leaves over here. I have 3 little plots for squash. They're just not growing yet. But anyway, this feeder, I literally just filled that yesterday. So you can kind of tell how used it is. So there's so many hummingbirds that have been coming through here. And during the chat, there were so many that were just there. So give them a moment and they'll come back around. Jolene says that's a really nice setup for the hummingbirds, but they appreciate it. Oh man, do they love it. So they all come around here. They have their little turf wars, and then sometimes they come and they tap on the window here, like repeatedly. And we'll be like talking out the screen that's right next to it. And we're like, hello, we're here. They're like, let us in, let us in. um, Silverstar says, I saw your garden in my head. I can't believe I saw it right. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. And I do have another, like it's like a large pot that I have my zucchini and carrots in, but that's on the other side. All right, looks like we have our first customer of this chat. Hello, sir. Silverstar says, that was weeks ago, by the way, but I saw it. So cool. And Shadowland says, my main channel is what I like to call my brain vomit channel. It's for figuring out what types of content I want to make. Excellent. And Patrick is here. He says, ooh, I love birds. And Jolene says, yeah, that would be cool to try and do remote viewing. Or is that you do to see uh, other places? Yeah, like well, what Silver Star was talking about, she probably did do a remote viewing, which is just a form of astral traveling, or you can say like moving your energy to another physical place and be able to see what is going on. Like I said, everything is just energy. So if we wanted to, let's say, tap into that crystal of apophyllite, it's kind of like astral traveling, but you're just setting the intention that I'm connecting my energy now to the energy of what I perceive as apophyllite, and then just have kind of a discourse from there. And that could be through meditation. Um, if you wanted to, let's say, I know that Jolene lives kind of far away. I could, if I wanted to, transport my consciousness over there and kind of see what it looks like around her. Of course, the interpretations kind of get filtered in kind of like dreams, at least in my experience. So it would have like a lot of the major symbols and themes, you'd be able to pick out, but it might be not exact, if that makes sense, kind of like a dream. Oh, I just saw Sammy in the background. She was way out there. There she goes. She's behind a tree over there. Um, wow, this is weird. Normally all the hummingbirds are right here. So I don't know what's happening. Um, Jillian says, yeah, wow, that sounds about right. Really need to try that with some place at least. John says, everything is happening here and now, so you can literally see any place or time. Exactly. And Susie's given Sammy some hearts. And Jillian said, heard about it, but never tried. Well, hey, maybe you can give it a try during the chat. Everybody's from a lot of different places here. Some people here in the United States, there are people from different countries, in here outside the United States. So there's a plethora of places to go check out. Oh, there's one of our orange fellas. We have, oh, wow, his neck is so iridescent today. That is cool. Um, but yeah, we have people from Sweden. We have people in here from the Netherlands. We have a friend in here from the UK. Of course, we have friends here from all over the US. We have somebody in here, I believe, from India. Um, so yeah, maybe you guys want to do a little shout out. Cebu said South Africa. All right. See, all over the planet, man. This is great. And Silver Star says they know you're filming. I know these guys are so cheeky. See, you good. And Jillian says, "Oh, does hummingbird have different colors?" They do, actually. That one was a little green one. It's known as a Anna's hummingbird. But we have some with like an iridescent purple neck, and then we have some orange ones that only come in around summertime, and then they leave in the fall or late fall. But they have what I just saw was like a really iridescent throat, which is kind of cool. Lisa says, Guinevere, love, beauty, feminine power, and sexuality. Shadowland says, Sammy is one of the shortened form of my actual name that my family calls me. Oh, well, that's nice. Silver Star said, so beautiful, little birds. I freaking love hummingbirds. All right, Astrid is from Poland, Warsaw, Poland, actually. So yeah, if you guys want to do a little shout out, around the globe, where's everybody from? So we are filming here from the good old White Mountains of Arizona. And the hummingbirds are playing their games at the moment. They're like, oh, you're filming? We'll see about that. Try to capture us on TV. um, okay. I do want to go back and maybe pull a card for our friend Janine, who has been patiently waiting with her super chat. So I'm going to do that while you guys are posting where you guys are from. Patrick is hailing from the Netherlands. Silver Star says she is from Utah, United States. Susie is in SoCal, US. Shadowlands in Springfield, Illinois. Okay, there's Janine. Okay, so a reading on which chakras need focusing on. All right, so Janine. Let's take a look. And we have Liesel, who is from England, Kayla from Illinois, Angela in northern Indiana, USA. Pagan is from Belgium. John is from St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis. Janine is northwest of England. Wow. Silverstar says, so cool. I love seeing people from everywhere. The internet is amazing that way, connecting us. Woo, woo. Oh, all right. And so Lisa will also do a channeling from Guinevere, of course. And oh, so Lisa was saying Southeast England. Excellent. Okay, so Janine Barnes, let's take a look at a chakra that might need some extra attention. All right, and we have Crow. This is for our friend Janine. Okay, so let me tap in for just a moment. Okay, so I'm seeing a couple of chakras light up, and that is the crown chakra and the solar plexus. And it's saying that, um, all of us, we're all spiritual beings, which means that we all have quote unquote psychic ability. We all have spiritual abilities. And so your crown chakra is wide open. You're constantly getting downloads. You're constantly kind of feeling into things more empathically, is kind of what it feels like. And that is kind of how you intuit your world. Some things kind of come to you claircognizantly, where you may not have an actual explanation of why you just know something, you just kind of know it. And it may not happen all the time, but it feels like that's how you've been getting a lot of your information. However, trusting that information, following through with the information that you have received. Oh, hey, little guy. He's like, are you filming? But that would be more connecting to the solar plexus, understanding one's own power, that you do have your spiritual power as well as your physical human power. So it's just having that trust and confidence in yourself. So if you were going to go into meditation and do some healing, I would say focus more on the solar plexus and try to get a sense of, perhaps parents may have been like, you always have to have parental vision. You can't do this all by yourself. You got to have help with this or that. And so sometimes children become really reliant on the approval of their parents, or not having faith in what it is that they're doing themselves. It's always second guessing. And it started to maybe be prevalent when you're in school and taking tests. It was my intuition says the answer is A, but I don't trust myself. So maybe it's B, or maybe it was C, or maybe it was D. And so that second guessing has come into adulthood now of, I feel like I should be doing this or I should be going this way. But then we second guess and say, maybe that's not quite right. And we're trying to use the logic to figure out our best steps forward, when the logic really only lives in the past. So if in the past you're told to mistrust yourself, then that's all the logic can tell you, or also known as the ego. That's all it can tell you. So I would say really focusing on your solar plexus at this time is going to help you to gain that confidence back in yourself, that you are highly capable, you know exactly what you're doing, you have the intuition. And even if you can't explain your intuition, it's not for anybody else to be explained to. It's just you. It's you and your intuition and your movement forward. And the more you put faith in that intuition, the stronger it gets, and the stronger your own faith in self. So it's kind of a, a little catch 22 there. All right. So thank you so much, Janine, for your super chat. Let's go back here. People saying hello, skis. Sabu, I would be more than happy to pull a card for you as well. Uh, Lily is here. Hello. Angela is here. Says, blessed morning, everyone. Hope all is well with all of you. Happy Sunday. May your days be as beautiful and bright as you. Amen. All right. Okay, so let's go back and see the other super chats and super stickers. Oh, I think we did talk to Shadowlands. Excellent. And we did get a link to her channel. So if you want to go check that out, please do. She has a couple of channels actually. All right, Liesel, a channeling of Guinevere. Sure. And then we have our friend Sabu and also Shadowlands again. All right. Yes, John, we are doing the super chat, super stickers kind of while we just hang out with our hummingbirds here. And if I pick something up from the hummingbirds, like they have a desperate message, I'll definitely pass it along. But I want you guys to tap in as well. What does your intuition say with these hummingbirds? What are they chit-chatting about? All right, Liesel, let me pull a card first before we tap into Guinevere there. And I hate to cut this guy off, but we have elephant. Okay, back to the hummingbird. Okay, we have elephant there. Okay. By the way, if anybody has a cat, you're probably going to love today's live chat. Okay, so Lisa, I'm seeing you standing in kind of like Lancelot's armor, and you're standing in front of Guinevere, but she's handing you the sword from the Lady in the Lake. And it's like she's held the sword for so long, guiding and directing, but it's to you, Liesel, you, Lancelot, to take back your power, to take back that sword. It is you who guides us. And then I see the sword being placed inside of you, like disappearing within your body. And she's saying to be reminded that this magical sword, when we think of like the King Arthur stories about the Lady in the Lake and this magical sword coming out of the lake, that it was actually representative of your power, your own inner power. And that the snafu is that we believed it was the sword that had the power, when really it was us all along. So she just wants you to be reminded that although you may be surrounded by many meaningful items and things that you deem powerful, whether they are an aid in helping you to meditate, to sleep, to tap into your creativity, and to tap into your heart space, she says they really are just extensions of you. The sword has always been inside of you. The way to express yourself has always been inside of you. Your truth, the way you speak, your creative ideas, your creativity, they're all right there inside of you. And although she says it does the ego well to have these magical tools and these beautiful things around us, that's all they are, is just things. The real magic is you. And so she says now the sword is no longer yours to give to anyone because it's forever within. All right. And I believe with the elephant card, I was more getting like Ganesh vibes from that. And that was also, coming into his own power and understanding from a young age to the time he was an adult in, Hindu belief, that he was truly understanding that he was a powerful being, But as they say, with great power comes great responsibility. Um, but he was also known as being love and gentle and peaceful, and he didn't need a show of anything for people to understand his strength. And so that's what she wants to remind you of, is that there's nothing external you need to do to get people to understand that you are a strong woman, that you are a strong person. um, it's more an energy that you exude. Um, and that's the energy that people respect. And remember that everybody is just a extension of you. So it's you respecting you, basically. All righty. Okay. Thank you, Liesel, for letting me tap into Guinevere. That was amazing. Oh, got another customer. All right, Sabu said, General, please, where to work, kids, love, money. All right. So let's do a little general read. Let's see what Sabu needs to know. Okay. At one point we had like 4 hummingbirds, like one at each little flower there. It was so cool. All right. What does Sabu need to know at this time? Sabu need to know at this time. Okay, before I even look at the card, when I was just tapping into your energy, I was seeing this like tiger in the jungle. And the only way you could kind of see it through the bamboo was its beautiful glowing eyes. It's the steps are silent, the animal itself is silent. Okay, so let's see what this means. Oh, wow, we pulled another crow card. Interesting. Okay, so let's tap into this. Okay, and we're back. All right, so I feel this is um, more tapping into. Hold on, let me tap in a little bit more so I can speak clearly. Ah, okay, patience, patience. All right, so the animal tiger plus the animal crow that I had pulled, they're known as being very mystical animals, right? Especially with tigers. They're known to quietly walk through the jungle. You don't really know a tiger is upon you until it's upon you. And the same thing goes for crows. Unless they announce they're here, with their cawing, you wouldn't really know that there was a crow up in the sky until you look up and you're like, oh, I hear its voice. Um, so with you, it's saying to be patient with anything that you're doing at this moment. I know that there's like this push, in society to get things done like 5 minutes ago, that everybody needs to have a house now. Everybody needs to do this now. Everybody needs to, have their 401k now and, have kids now and all of this. But there is only really this present moment. So what is the rush? If we're worried about the future, then yes, of course, there is this going to be this feeling of rushing. But think of the tiger's energy. If the tiger were just willy nilly jumping all over everything, it would give its position away in the jungle. It would make itself vulnerable. So instead, it waits, it listens to what's going on around it, it utilizes its fabulous intuition. That's what I love about animals, is they're not any more intuitive than we are, they're just more open than we are. So therefore they have a little less ego than we do, but the more that we push that ego aside and we open up ourselves just like animals, our great teachers, then we realize that it's all about patience. It's not about speed. It's not about getting things done like yesterday, but getting things done that I feel I need to get done in this present moment because it behooves me, because it's what I want to do and not what society wants me to do, or my family or my friends. And it's not keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak. And when you begin living at your pace, just like Tiger lives at its own pace, you start to move through the world like a mystical being people just like look at you and they're like, how did you do that? Why does life seem so effortless to you? Why does it seem like you just manifest whatever you want? It's just coming to you. And it's not because you're working any harder, and it's not because you're working any faster, but it's because you're more patient. You're using your intuition to wait and see. What is the intentions of the people around me? What is the intention of the situation? What is my intention? What is the energy? How do I feel this connects with my energy at this time? Do I need to heal anything at this time, with this situation that has occurred? And in doing that, life seems to move faster, although it's not actually moving any faster. It's that flow that you're feeling. So I hope that helps. Thank you. Thank you. Um, all right. So let me go in here. Jolene said, thank you all for the possibility to be joining all here together. Yes, of course. Janine says, that sounds right. Thank you. Live lagged a bit, so I will have to replay after the live ends. Sure thing. Sure, sure. Shadowland says, so is my imbalance due to only having a single job or income source? Which chakra needs work for me? All right, let's take a look at that. There you are. Okay, so let's shuffle some cards. So where is this imbalance coming from? Is it a particular chakra? Ooh, we have coyote, trickster. Ah, our little trickster coyote. Okay, so what I'm getting from our little trickster boys, and actually I thought I heard them last night. Their packs kind of roam around here from time to time. Um, when we are thinking, let me just tap into which chakra this is so I can be more clear. Ah, this is root, solar plexus, and heart. I just kind of see them strung together. Okay, so when we think of the word imbalance, right away there's a fear like, oh no, something's broken. Oh no, I got to fix it. And just like we were talking about with Sabu's reading, about, sometimes we feel like we have to move at the speed of light. Sometimes we need to sit with that imbalance. And it seems like that's something that you need to do now. And it doesn't have anything to do with the single income source. But everything to do with just your energy at the moment. And so the energy at the moment is looks like you're trying to like fix things. Like I want to, I have to be doing this now to make my life better. Oh, I should also be doing this because, you may have been inspired by other people. You see what they're doing and you're trying to add it into your own repertoire, which is fine. But it seems like you have a lot of inspirational sources. So you're trying to do a lot of things at once, where I want to try a little bit of this and I want to try a little bit of that. And that's wonderful. I mean, this is the spice of life, is trying different things. But when we're not trying them because our heart wants us to do them, but we're trying them because of a fear state, like if I don't get something, moving off the ground now, then, life's going to be very difficult for me. And if we have that mindset that life is going to be difficult because we're not doing something immediately right now, or we don't have something that we perceive as successful right now, then we will manifest that future that it's just not taking off for me. That, I have this fear of missing out. So, this is just, again, like I was saying with Cebu, coming back to the present moment and sitting with that imbalance and trying to understand why you're feeling imbalanced, especially in that root chakra. Root chakra is your foundation, it's your security, it's your safety, which then connects into our solar plexus. That's why I saw that cord going into the solar plexus. If I don't feel safe, if I don't feel secure, if I don't feel grounded, then I lack confidence in what I'm doing. I lack confidence in where I'm going, which then makes it even more hard to listen to what your heart is saying. You see how they're all connected? So if the heart is saying, "Hey, Shadowlands," or Sammy, um, let's go try this thing over here," and you're like, Yeah, but is that gonna make any money? What's that gonna look like long term? All this fear, 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 which comes from our root chakra. Not that our root chakra is fear, but when we're worried about our foundation, then yes, it can provide a lot of fear. So if you're worried about the future and being stable in the future, you may be less likely to try out what your heart is asking you to try out because there's a lack of that confidence. I don't have the confidence to be able to try that thing at this time because I feel like it's not going to work out, or I don't see how this is going to be helping me long term. And so we end up shutting down a lot of those opportunities. And so with Coyote, who loves to move through the shadows, hence Shadowlands, um, he or she is actually very good at being patient, and they just kind of do what they feel like doing. Is it going to lead to food? Who knows? Is it going to lead to laughter and fun? Maybe. But they just do things. As I've observed coyotes, they just do how they feel in the moment. And they're not so worried about how this is going to look by the end of the night or early morning. And, if this is going to lead to new folks joining the pack, or if we are going to get some food out of this. Um, so it's in that following the heart that they do that they actually create more opportunities for themselves. But the more they shut down their heart and they say, no, I'm in fight or flight survival mode, the less opportunities they have for growth and for their enjoyment as a whole. So I hope that helps. Lily said, boy, I'm so late. Hey, no worries. And Silver Star says, Jolene, we are grateful to have you with us. Angela said, blessings and hugs, Silver Star. Hope all is well with you. Blessings, Susie, and many hugs to you both. How do you do? All right, John. Yay. We will do a super chat for you as well. Angela said, hummingbirds were my almost favorite. I feel her every time I look at them. Well, you might enjoy this chat today then. Okay, so John says, I trust the information I need will find me. All right, so let's tap into your energy then. Um, Everybody's saying hello. Shadowland said, hummingbirds, thanks for the good snacks. Just hang in the air around your flowers. Go with the flow of energy, is what they're saying to us. Beautiful. Liesl says, I'm speechless. Thank you. You're very welcome. All right. Silver Star says, beautiful message for a beautiful person. Angela also hugs for anyone in the chat who wants hugs. And if you're having a rough day now, you are loved. You see in the world for a reason, and I'm glad you exist today. Amen. Yes. Angela says, this message is so sweet. Blessings to Lady Gwen for passing this to Lisa. All right. And then we have our friend Lily as well. And Sabu. Okay. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the the chat. Oh, hey, our friend Billy is here, our other mighty mighty moderator. Namaste, one and all. Feel like hubby is wanting to get in touch. Lots of butterflies around at the moment. Ooh, wonderful. So yes, I have been trying to do this chat an hour earlier, but I don't know. I like it since I'm up earlier. I figure might as well do the chat. Okay, so let's pull a card for John. And then we'll go to Lily and we'll continue on with our messages. Oh, okay. So, John, there was a song that was started playing in my head, and I had to let the lyrics play a little bit more so I could figure out who was singing this. And I was like, duh, it's Gavin Rosdale, it's Bush. And it's the song Swallowed. So that's playing over and over. So I don't know if you have that song, you can play it, or maybe look at the lyrics and see what the message is in there. But that's just the first thing I was getting, is I was hearing Swallowed by Bush. Okay, so let's pull a card and let's make some sense of all this. Holy schmoly. Really? Crow wants to play today with everybody. It looks like Crow is just with everybody, but that makes sense. We got bird energy here. We got birds coming in through the cards. So I guess I understand. Okay, so let's see what this means for John. Mm. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. So I guess I kind of see it's just maybe it was just the title of the song that was needed, but swallowed. And so what Crow is trying to say is, well, technically it's your higher self speaking through Crow. But remember we were talking about crows, ravens, they're very vocal creatures. You really wouldn't know where they are until they make their cawing sound. Um, and it feels as though when you were growing up, and we talk a lot about inadvertent programming from our parents. I don't believe our parents were malicious. They weren't trying to instill certain ideas and beliefs into us. It's just that was what was passed down to them from their parents, and so that's the only like parenting point of view they have is their own parents as role models. And so as they become parents, they just pass on what their parents taught them. And so with your parents, they were taught to basically stuff things down, so that you don't cause a problem with other people. Sure, there are times we need to speak up, but for the most part, there are times you need to be quiet, times that it's inappropriate to speak. Now is not the time, these things. So it seems kind of like a shutting down of the throat chakra sometimes of, you know, I want to say something, but this person already looks visibly upset. I don't want to upset them further. And then, although we may have the best of intentions of talking about it later, we usually never do. So we keep swallowing it, we keep pushing it down. And so although I know that you've gone into some deep healing, these past several years, that you've been trying to understand your higher self, that you've been trying to listen to that voice within, that voice within needs to become re-strengthened, because it used to talk quite a bit, but as a child, it was shut down because although you may have been feeling all sorts of things, you may be getting all kinds of intuitive things, you never really expressed them that much for fear of people not really understanding, or maybe it just wasn't an appropriate time to talk about it. And so, although that might be to a less extent now that you're an adult, you may do better at speaking your mind, but definitely take a really good look at when you stifle that throat chakra. When it's like, I could say this thing now, but I don't want to upset my wife. Or I could say this thing, but I don't want to lose a friend. Or I don't feel like getting into an argument right now. Or if I start talking about this is going to open up a can of worms. And I just don't feel like it right now. And although, like I said, you may have intention to look at it later or talk about it later, sometimes we forget. So this is more just a chance for you to reflect in the moment when you catch yourself, and try the best you can. When you catch yourself buttoning your lip and being, not right now, then you got to ask yourself why. Is it because you're trying to spare the other person's feelings? Or is it that you're trying to spare your feelings? Like you are the one that doesn't want to get into an argument right now. You're the one that doesn't want to have the bad feelings right now. And sometimes that's how our ego tricks us, is it hides through our empathy. And so we may say, I care about other people so much, I love them so much that I don't want to upset them, when really it's me that doesn't want to be in the conflict. So I'm just saying that it's the other person I care about, when really it's me that doesn't want to be in conflict. It's me that doesn't want to have an argument. It's me that doesn't want to have, these difficult feelings come up. So I'm just saying that I'm not saying anything because of someone else. So it's the ego's way of bypassing. So your higher self is just having you keep an eye on that, because it's something that you were trained to do in childhood. So like I said, it's to a lesser extent now. You're an adult. You definitely probably speak up when need to. But those times that you don't, is the times you really need to pay attention. So I hope that makes sense. All right. Who do we have next? Oh, Lily. Okay. So Lily said, any messages or guidance on something I missed or need to focus on more importantly from my guides and guardians? All right, will do. Let's give this cards a good shuffle. See if we don't have another bird come back out. I mean, we had hawk, we had crow. I know we had elephant, but I mean, usually when we think of elephants, we always think of birds hanging around on elephants. So a lot of avian energy. Okay, something not an avian. Excellent. All right, Lily. We have beaver. Love this little guy building his little dams and things of that nature. Okay, so let's tap in. Oh, I see. Okay, I see what's Beaver's talking about. Okay, so when we think of beaver, we think of them as being industrious little animals. You know, they are always hard at work. They're always grabbing sticks and helping to dam up, lakes and rivers and things of that nature. So we always see them as like little hard workers. And even in cartoons, they often draw the beaver with like a little hard hat, like he's the little construction worker. Um, and we look at that as something to be admired, that he or she seems to be always working, working, working. And the reason society may paint that picture of beaver, which they have obviously so many other amazing qualities other than they know how to put some sticks together and build a dam, which is great, but they know how to do many other things as well. They're also wonderful parents. They're also very good at communicating with other animals, and making friends instead of enemies. But that's not the thing that society loves to focus on. Society intentionally loves to focus on the fact that it works hard. So that us as little children, we look at these beavers and we're like, oh, yes, hard work is good. We always got to work hard, hard, hard. And not to say that, we shouldn't work hard, but to say, what does hard work even mean? Does it mean wearing ourselves out? Does it mean burning the candle at both ends? Of course, society would love people to do that because the more energy you give, great, that's for them. They could care less, about the equal energetic exchange. But just like the beaver, they're saying, hey, just get in there, just get the work done. And perhaps that might be part of your work ethic is you might feel sometimes saddened when you don't get everything done on your to-do list or something didn't quite turn out the way you wanted it to. And again, that's the external programming of you always got to work hard and you always got to have the A+, you always got to get everything absolutely perfect. And when we don't do those things, we're made to feel bad about ourselves. And it started off with grades. We graded ourselves with A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's. So when a kid received an F, man, they felt like the worst thing in the world may have happened, especially if they attributed their identity to their grades. Other kids, maybe they weren't part of that program. And so they're like, I got an F, who cares? But this is just something to take a look at in your everyday life now. Is when it comes to getting things done, when it comes to working or providing for others, in what way are you hard on yourself? In what way are you um, playing into the programming of work, work, work? And the only way I know a human being of value is if I work myself to death. So definitely take a look at that because your higher self is saying you already do a lot. You do a lot of wonderful things. And then a lot of the things that we do that are the most important are the least physical. So it's not exactly what we make or what we've created at our job, but it's a lot of the work that we do internally. So it may appear as though we're just sitting on the couch. But what if we were sitting on the couch meditating, and in that meditation, we broke past some massive barriers and created some wonderful opportunities in our life? Society would say that person is lazy. They would want to shun that person so that person does not heal. But that person was doing a lot of amazing things without having to lift a finger. So definitely look into that with your own life, where you might be playing into everything has to be kind of like a show of hard work. Um, instead of just being content with, I know that I'm doing what I need to do in this present moment, regardless of what anybody else thinks about me. So thank you, Beaver, for coming in. All right, Lily, thank you. Thank you. Angela says, Tara, have you tapped into the radium clock painters of the Victorian Match Factory workers before a channeling? I recently read about all they went through. It shocked me and had me tearing up. I have not, but that is actually a wonderful suggestion. Um, Lily says, I'm grateful and honored to be here. Much love and respect. Angela, gosh, beautiful message. Angela said, welcome and hugs everyone who is coming in today. We welcome you. Please remember controlling, be kind to others today. Amen. Jolene says, we don't have any coyotes or hummingbirds here in north of Sweden, so it's interesting to listen to these differences. Interesting. Silver Star says, heart flutters back and forth, up and down. It's time to slow down. Take one stepping stone at a time. Man, these guys are starting to go nuts now. Susie says, sage advice. All right, Sabu, which chakra needs balancing? Okay, let's take a look then. And Julian says, mostly animals like deer, reindeer, bears, moose, crows, and squirrels. Ah, all right, Sabu. Ooh, right away I'm seeing the heart chakra, but let's take a look at the card I pulled. And do we have kangaroo? And well, the first thing that comes to mind is this little pouch here on the kangaroo, where once kangaroo has babies, the babies basically they just kind of sit in that little pouch. You know, it's kind of a nursing center. So when I think of heart chakra, I guess that is appropriate that I do think of kangaroos. I do think of mothering energy, although yes, there are male and female kangaroos. But I always see that like closest, that nurturing, that keeping children close to you, keeping our inner child close to us. So let's see if I can get any more in-depth information about this heart chakra. Mm, okay. So it's saying that you are a service to others type energy where what makes you truly happy is when you are helping other people. You love to see other people happy. You might be the type of person where if you buy a gift for somebody, you are so excited to see that person open that gift, more excited than maybe opening your own gifts, you know, let's say at like a birthday or other holiday. So you love to light people up. You love to make people smile, especially like with children and with animals. Um, you have this very, I would say, kind and gentle type energy. Even though maybe outwardly we would act tough and all of that, just energetically speaking, you do have a nurturing, kind energy. Um, One way that could be looked at in a shadow aspect, which is why I'm seeing kind of the imbalance in the heart chakra, is that we become so focused on other people. Like with these hummingbirds here, I'll kind of explain why they're coming into play in this reading. But when we become so focused on other people, we tend to forget ourselves and we start to negate our own joy and our own love for self because we say, well, you know, I'll take care of myself when, you know, when the time comes. But really, right now, I got to focus on this person. I got to focus on this person. This person needs my help right now. And that is wonderful. That's very noble of you to want to help all of those people. But remember that everybody around us, they're just mirrors of us. We all come from source, whether you're a hummingbird or a human or a rock or a tree, we're all from the same stuff. We're all from that beautiful source energy. And so we have to be reminded that the people we love and care about all around us are just other aspects of ourself. They're mirrors for us. So whether we get along with them or we don't get along with them, they're still us. They're still a fragment of us. So to say that I'm going to provide less attention to my physical self than I am to others is an imbalance in your own energy. You're saying that I want to give my love and attention externally, but I am not so good at reciprocating to myself. Or perhaps even when other people want to help you, you might be more hesitant, or you don't want them to work too hard, in trying to help you. It's like, oh, you might feel a little bit bad about it. So, like with these hummingbirds, they definitely have an equal type energy here, an equal balance of energy where one, comes in to drink water, and then the other comes in and chases them away, and then they get a drink of water, but they're not actually angry with each other. They're not actually fighting, but it's a beautiful, I would say, reciprocal type energy. It's a give and take, it's a push and pull. Everybody's getting an equal sip of nectar, so to speak. Everybody's getting equal joy and equal fun. They're not deciding that the other hummingbirds are more important than themselves. They know that they are the other hummingbirds, they are just as important. And so that is what balancing the heart chakra means, is going in and finding out, where is that programming? Where was I taught to put myself last? As if that was more virtuous, if that was the epitome of modesty. We can be modest, but it doesn't mean putting ourselves last. So I hope that makes sense. Take a cue from kangaroo, um, and maybe be a little bit more nurturing to self. Do something nice for yourself. Doesn't even have to be something physical. It could be something more meditative. I'm going to go into my heart space today because that's the most loving thing that I could do. Um, all right, Billy, sure. I'd be more than happy to read one of your poems, and I will pull a card for you. So Jolene was saying the animals are kind of like what it is in Russia. Very nice. And Billy said, for some reason, I thought this was going to be at 5 p.m. My bad entirely. How is everyone? Oh, we are doing wonderful. But yes, I started an hour earlier, so that probably threw you off. um, Patrick says, I'm enjoying all of this. Nice to be here. Silver Star saying hello to him. Yes, Billy, let's definitely do a trade. I don't mind doing trades with you. It's very nice. Susie says, Heather, my Obi is looking at me for a second time, and I will be right back, Chica. I think he needs a second pee pee. Oh, Billy's saying it's wonderful to watch the hummingbirds. Well, if you listen, they kind of make like a kissy noise. It's kind of cool. Man, they are going nuts now. Remember when they were all camera shy? Um, Angela says crows are like people in bird suits. They laugh when they see friends, help each other, love, grieve, and kick the greedy and toxic energies out. Yes. John said, time and place, John. Crows are smart. They become difficult to give the attention they need. Mm-hmm. Jolene says it would be nice to have a crow companion. Oh, yeah. Shadowland says, just did a meditation to see what was causing the imbalance in my root. Sat with the discomfort for a bit. It came from before my adoption at age 5 from my birth parents. It created a time clock. Oh, well, now you know where the healing needs to be. So definitely be gentle with yourself, but that's putting the power back in your hands. Angela says also they require a varied diet, including meat and bugs. Oh, there's plenty of bugs here because we have a little creek, plus all the other bugs that hang around all that globe mallow and plants that are back there. John says, I'm learning to speak up. I've been more aware, and that's a big first step. Yes, definitely. Angela says, I love them too. I always loved Maleficent and her crow friend. Ah, okay. Angela says, here's a special poem for you, Tara. Thank you for all you do. You give your time and energy. May all you give come back to you. So glad you are in our lives and brightening our day. Mother Gaia, love to you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Billy, let's pull a card for you. And Billy says, sad thing is, it's the way society programmed us, want to snap the ruler of comparison. And Shadowland says, what is perfection aside from the unattainable? There is no true perfection. That is 100%. All right. Angela said, getting perfection is like trying to pin the ocean to the leash so it never goes back. It's impossible. And it's okay, it's impossible because flaws make you there where our creators and angels hugged us too tightly. Flaws show the love the divine have for you. Amen. And I don't really ever see anything as flaws, by the way. I just see it as uniqueness. That's all it is. We're all different. We're all different energies. Our souls are not all the same soul. So we're going to be different human beings. So I don't think there is a standard human being unless you're like printing us out of some sort of 3D printer. Um, ooh, Billy said she saw a blue dragonfly in the garden the other day. I saw one the other day too. That is so cool. Lily says that her reading made a lot of sense. I'm physically challenged and working so hard on the healing myself and helping my children open up more. I see I'm rubbing off on them. I don't force, I encourage. Thank you so much. You are so welcome. Susie sending lots of love and healing to Lily. Um, aw, got some happy tears going on in there. Okay, so Billy is wanting a message from hubby about life stuff. Sabu said, thank you. Definitely a note to self. So much appreciated. You're very welcome. Billy says, maybe the word got out that there was a feeder here, so the hummers are coming from far and wide. Oh, definitely. There's two other massive feeders, but they loved this little one that just like it was full yesterday. And look at where the level is. Um, Billy says, I have two jackdaws that sit on the roof of the house and over the back from me every day. Silverstar says, just close my eyes and listen between Tara and the birds. Such healing energy. Aw. And Shadowland says, I'd love to have a pet flying fox bat. Oh, that would be cool. Um, Lily says, do we have bats on the homestead? We sure do. They come out just as the sun's coming or going down, where it starts to like get between dark and sundown. And they fly really close to my head. Uh, so it's like no matter where I am, like as soon as it starts to get dark, they find me and they just like buzz the tower. I'm like, oh, hello, bat. And they come back and forth until I go inside. So yeah, the bats love to say hello out here. John says, perfection is the imperfect. Yes. And Silver says bats and dragonflies eat tonight. Eat bugs. Yes, yes, which is wonderful. Angela says bats eat so many bugs. I see them as very cleansing. Did you know bats always turn left when they turn? That does make sense. They do turn left. Interesting. One day they're going to run into my head, I'm sure. John says, I'm hearing the hummingbirds as they're flying by, just boring life things, usually in the middle of the conversation. And Susie says, I sat under a bat years ago in the day and I heard that means rabid. God, it freaked me out, but but I like them at night. Angela says a smaller feeder helps them feel safer as they are closer together and can watch each other's backs in case of predators. Ah, well, then that makes way more sense. Silver Star says tons of mosquitoes. I know they eat lots of bugs. Oh, mosquitoes. Yes, yes. Man, do we have a lot of skeeters they could eat? Actually, that's probably why our skeeter population has been dwindling. Lily says, awesome. Bats are so needed for the environment. They eat thousands of insects. Billy says, I had a bat buzz me on a camping holiday once. Didn't like that, but on a different site, loved having swallowed birds skim the field about a foot from the ground. Ooh. Oh, Susie was saying kind of watch out for the day bats. Because they're meant to not come out until nighttime since they don't have, um, they're not technically not blind, but they just don't have as great a vision. Hence why they use echolocation. And that works a little less, in the daytime. They don't really need to be out during day. So it does make sense that something is wrong at that point. Okay, so Billy, let's pull a message from hubby. And then, let's go into a channeled guided meditation. Of course, we're going to have to talk about the hummingbirds for this meditation. Oh, Billy, you had a card just kind of fly out. And we have elephant again. I swear I am shuffling this deck. I do shuffle really well. So we just happen to be getting some repeater cards, but that's cool. I mean, probably just means we're all simpatico, you know? Um, Billy says, not heard of day bats, but there are a lot of dingbats around, especially in politics. Billy, I 100% agree. Lily says, "Does anyone know what bats represent spiritually? I've always seen bats wherever I lived. I never thought of looking into that. For me, bats always remind me to change my perspective, kind of like the hangman, since they do hang upside down. So it's taking a pause sometimes and reflecting before I take my next step. It's also teaches me to trust my intuition more than my five senses because, in reality, our five senses are easily manipulated. You know, I mean, think about bubble gum. When we chew bubble gum and it's supposed to have a watermelon flavor, you're not actually eating a watermelon. It's a chemical reaction, that is tricking our taste buds into thinking that we're eating watermelon. Illusionists play off the fact that our eyes deceive us all the time. Musicians love to manipulate the listening senses, our ears. So, in knowing that the five senses are manipulated, the only thing that is our truest sense is our intuition. And lo and behold, that is the one sense that is shunned by society as a whole. Why? Because if everybody knew that the intuition was the only true sense, woo, this would look like a way different society, I believe. Uh, Jolene says, going for a walk now, but we'll be staying here with y'all, passively listening. All right. Billy says, talking of listening senses, try 8K music. It makes my brain tickle in good ways. um, and John says, they're sometimes seen as psychopomp because they come out at dusk and go home at sunrise. Ah, another lovely point of view. Okay, so we have elephant for our friend Billy. And I'm asking your hubby for a message for you. Okay. So I don't know if this is something your husband actually did for you, but this is kind of symbolically then what he's showing himself to do in the astral. And so he has you seated on a bed, and it's kind of like you just took a shower, and he's helping you to dry off your hair with the towel. So he's behind you, and he's like scrunching up your hair in the towel, making sure that it's nice and dry. And then later taking a comb and gently helping you to brush through your hair. But he's not saying anything. It's just more of these loving actions where he's not hurriedly trying to dry your hair. He's not yanking on your hair while he brushes your hair, but everything is done with gentle, loving attention. So it's this lovingly brushing your hair. I'm lovingly trying to dry your hair. And it'll take as long as it will take. Let's see what else he's showing here. He's saying oh, there were many things that he loved about you, but one of the bigger things that he loved was your attention to detail, to the smaller things, kind of like we're looking at hummingbirds now, kind of why he likes to utilize hummingbird as a symbol for you, because they are smaller. Oftentimes people will say, whoa, there goes a hummingbird, but they don't take the time to truly look at all of their colors, look at each individual feather. Especially when the hummingbird pauses, which isn't for very long, but you take notice of these things. You take notice of the smaller animals, the bugs, the insects. If somebody passes you and you really like somebody's outfit, you pay attention to every detail of their outfit. Like, I love that they did this and this and this. And he's saying you have such an appreciation for things that other people don't take the time to look at because they're in such a fast paced world. And although you are also in that fast paced world, you have taken the time to get to know, what does an ant look like when it's close up? What does a mosquito look like when it's close up? And instead of automatically shunning an animal or an insect or a person just based on what other people said. If everybody said insects were, you know, mosquitoes were gross and mosquitoes are evil because they suck your blood, um, and if you were like that, then you would try to kill every mosquito you saw. You wouldn't take the time to truly understand them or connect to them or understand their place in the whole ecosystem. You wouldn't try to look at one up close and really understand its design and see yourself in that mosquito, see yourself in the squirrels and in the plants and in the hummingbirds. And so with him taking the time to truly brush your hair and um, dry it up after a shower. He says, don't forget to pay as much detailed attention to yourself as you do to other things. That you can study yourself with as much wonder. This human suit that you have is just as wondrous as the animals, the insects, the people, the plants, the rocks, the wind on your face, all of these things that you feel and you see, utilizing your intuition along with your five senses, um, and use that for yourself as well. Look at yourself with wonder instead of what could be fixed or what isn't right. It's, wow, I never noticed that about my eyes before. Or wow, look at how on this eye my eyelashes do this, but on this eye my eyelashes do this. Go into detail with fascination, like a child looking in the mirror for the very first time. My parents have actually a mirror or a picture of me when I was about 2 or 3 years old. Um, and they have me standing on the bathroom counter, and I have my hands pressed against the mirror because I was so fascinated with the baby in the mirror. I hadn't recognized that that was my own reflection yet because, well, at that age, most children don't have their ego set in yet. So we don't have a perception of self. We're just pure soul. So try to get into that pure soul energy again, just like you were when you were a kid, and try to look at your reflection more instead of that's Billy in the mirror. You look at that reflection and be like, wow, that's so interesting. This person, look at the hair and then look at her eyes, and wow, look at this and look at that. Um, and in a way, that's a form of self love. And he says, when you're in that space of just pure joy and amazement and wonder, he says, that's the space I live in. And that's how you might feel me more, even though I'm always there. Okay. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Sorry, I'm going back really fast. Dur, dur, dur. Sorry, just scrolling through here. Oh, Shadowlands. Okay, it says on the Harry Potter website, wizardingworld.com, my patroness is an elephant. Oh, really? Well, I've always felt that elephant, well, for me, always represented Ganesh, but elephant also represented mother, the divine feminine, um, moving at your own pace, strength without violence. Um, and they're also highly intelligent. And sometimes people feel like, well, because science says that compared to the rest of their body, this size of the brain, da, 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 that somehow they're not an intelligent, conscious creature. And if we measured everything by like size or weighed by what science said, we'd have a very shallow 2D view of everyone and everything in this world. Um, but elephants, I feel, since they are so connected to their higher selves, so connected to the spirit world, or the world of spirit, um, that I feel that they're just highly intelligent. That, yes, like in terms of 3D intelligence, they are actually really smart creatures. They remember things for years, just like human beings do. And so I feel like we have a lot in common with elephants. How sometimes when we think of elephants in captivity, that they're trained at an early age, that they're never going to escape. So they put a, a chain on their foot that is bigger than would actually be needed to, hold in a baby elephant. But as they get older and the chain gets smaller, they still remember that the chain was big and heavy and I can never escape. And because they have such a great memory, humans have, I would say, horribly tapped into that energy where they do have a great memory, understanding that they would always remember that chain and that they're always forever a prisoner. And so I feel that we have a kinship with elephants because I feel that that's what happens to us in childhood. Not that somebody ever chained us, but sometimes they chained our mindset, they chained our beliefs, they chained our view and our perception of self. They chained us to a limited perception of what is possible. And so as we get older, because we have fantastic memories, most of us, we always remember the chaining of those beliefs. Um, and it's really hard to break away from. But elephants can heal. We can heal. We can heal our past. Elephants do heal their past. So I think that that's beautiful, that the patron is the elephant in the wizarding world. Susie says, my son was a day back then, so I made my ex-husband go check hours later. He said it was gone, so I was just relieved, but hopefully, yes, it may have been better. Um, and so, Billy, so as far as tech, it seemed like, paying attention to the details, just like you do with all other things, is the more you start paying attention to self and looking at yourself with wonder, that's going to translate into the tech world. Because what do we think about with technology? A lot of it's really small components. A lot of it is attention to detail. But it's looking at it instead of more from the logical point of view, look at it from a more spiritual point of view and a world of like younger child amazement, just like you do when you look at your reflection in the mirror. All right. Let's see here. Do, 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 do. Screaming through. Okay. Angela said, those poor elephants, they deserve better. Their brains are the same shape as ours, just way bigger. They understand the differences between voices and languages. Yeah. I mean, I feel even though elephants may physically look different than us, I feel like we are closely related to the elephants. I know they like to say we're closely related to like gorillas and apes and chimpanzees and things like that, but that's yes, there is a lot of similarities, um, but we can't forget that everything is just an aspect of us. And for me, I think that we have a lot to learn from elephants, and the more we try to understand them and look at them with wonder, like Billy, the more we understand ourselves, I think. Jillian says, how do you handle people around you not understanding this world of spirituality and plants and animals? I just understand that everybody's just my fragment. They're just a different portion of me. So I wouldn't want really everybody to be exactly the same because that's boring and I wouldn't learn very much. But there's a lot to learn from people that, look at things from strictly a 3D point of view, people that look at things from strictly a 4D or 5D point of view. There's so much to learn from people who are steadfastly, in religion. I think that there's a lot to learn from people that we might deem difficult, like people in politics. I just realized that they're just me. They're just pieces of me. And I want to understand how they operate. I want to understand how their ego operates and how can I find that within myself. If they're in my world and in my reality, that means that I vibrate with them at a certain level. And so I want to understand that. So for me, it's all understanding, all learning. Billy says there's a site that used to be called Ella Friends, now called Side by Side. Oh, I will definitely check that out. Shadowland says think of the adult beverage patron when pronouncing the name of the protector spell from Harry Potter. Ah, okay. Oh, Patron. I see. Susie says, Terry, I think you answered all the super chats. Okay, excellent. Billy said, thank you. That makes sense. I'm freaking out big time at the direction tech is going with all the tracking and info at once now. So maybe he's saying embrace rather than run from it. Yeah, and use your intuition. Definitely. Intuition was a huge part of it about really taking the time to look at the details. And John said elephants have the same gestation period. That I didn't Wow, we really do have a lot in common with elephants. All right, you guys. Let's get ready for a channeled guided meditation. I'm going to get some water here. All these channelings are going to get me all warmed up for I have a one-on-one channeling later. So, hey, by the way, you guys, do check out my website. If you are looking for something that is a little bit bigger in scope, like a bigger type reading, I have a lot of different types of readings on my website and a lot of different styles, kind of based on people's personality. So, I do Lenormand, I have tarot readings, I also have seashell readings known as conchomancy. Um, I want to offer bone readings at some point. I have Mayan astrological charts, or known as destiny charts. And pretty soon, I'm going to be adding Mayan compatibility charts, which are really fun. I've done them for a lot of people, and it's like so fascinating to me. Um, but yeah, so if you feel like you don't really want everybody hearing like your reading, during a live chat, I understand. So I do have readings on my site, but I do have one-on-one live channelings. So it's kind of like when I channel, excuse me, for like the Monday videos that we do, but it's just with another person. So the person will tell me like what they want to have channeled. I go right into my channeling and they become James basically. So they just ask questions and they talk directly to whoever or whatever it is that they want to speak to, and I appreciate those immensely. But yeah, I do have those later today. So I think this right now is a good warm up. Susie says, thank you for all you do. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and then Billy posted my site. Thank you so much. All right. Lily says, can you see if my higher self gives me some insight on my physical health healing journey? Okay. Let's take a lookie. John's like, "Can you read the bones in my body?" I could see the bones in your body. I do actually do body scans, but I don't think I could toss the bones in your body, but I bet I could read them. Like if your femur had to say something, or perhaps uh, the ribs, the coccyx, the lumbar. Okay, so insight into some physical health healing. Ooh, we have the bee, queen bee. Thinking of honeybee. Okay, let's tap in. Okay, so actually, this kind of goes off of what John was just saying about reading the bones in his body, and it reminded me, or actually, B reminded me about how they communicate. Bees are telepathic. They kind of communicate through frequency, much like humans. We can communicate through frequency, and this is how we can visit places that we've never been before physically. This is how we can connect to rocks and stones and animals. But yes, bees do it naturally. They kind of have like that hive mindset or group think, but they also have their individual thinking. They also know exactly what their queen is thinking, and so the same goes for our organs and our bones, our connective tissue, all of the things that are within the body and also on the outside of the body. That they all have their own individual consciousness, yet still coming from the same consciousness, which is us. And you can kind of look at it like source energy, how we are all source, but we all kind of come from the same stuff. So the same goes for communicating with your actual body parts. So whether you're connecting to your veins or your arteries, or your heart or your brain or your eyes, whatever it may be, they all have their individual consciousness, just like humans, but they all come from the same stuff, which is the main consciousness, which is you. And that consciousness that you have comes from an even larger thing, which is source. And I'm sure source comes from something even bigger. But what B was trying to say is to go inwards, and instead of sometimes becoming frustrated with the parts of us that we feel are don't work as we feel they should. Remember that we were talking about earlier that we're all very unique human beings. We all have different strengths, we all have different weaknesses. But the more we communicate, the more we can help each other. And so there is no one perfect human. Not all humans have 20/20 vision and, capable legs and arms and, backs that are, you know, don't have scoliosis and, things like this. Like we're all unique in these different ways, but perhaps we have been taught to see things that may not operate as well as others as something that's bad, as something that's a deficiency or handicapped. So instead, for your healing, while you continue to do your normal healing as you do, see if you can go in and have a chat with that part of your body and see if you can go even smaller and smaller with it, kind of like with Billy with her attention to detail. So let's say my arm doesn't work so well. Let's say it's my left arm. But more, I want to talk about the nerves that are in my arm. And maybe I also want to talk to the muscles that are in my arm. Maybe I also want to talk to the bones, my radius, my ulna, and I believe it's the upper femoris, which is our upper bone. Um, but we can talk to these just as we would talk to our other friends and just ask them, um, what is your reasoning for operating in this way at this time? What are you trying to teach me at this time? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? In understanding my strengths and weaknesses, not just, logically, but in understanding that, how can I help you to build upon those weaknesses? And instead of, asking anything else, you're asking the veins themselves, the muscles themselves, the nerves themselves, because they have a lot to say. Like I said, they have a consciousness. And although we may send healing to that area, very rarely do we actually listen to what that area has to tell us. Um, and so, in doing that, creating more of a symbiotic relationship where I'm listening to what you're saying, it's listening to what I'm saying, it's so much easier for you to do your healing in that area. You may find that some of these things, this what we might see as energetic imbalances within the body, they might stem from past lives. Heck, it might even stem for this life. But the point is having a conversation, trying to understand so you know exactly what type of healing that part of your body needs. So hopefully that makes sense, like a little busy bee. All right, so Silver Star, we'll catch you later. She says, okay, okay, going. And just like, that is the vibe around here. Yes. Billy says, totally. I'm neurodivergent. Some aspects are really difficult to manage, but the hyper focus, the attention to detail hubby mentioned on stuff of interest is huge. I'm thankful for the creativity too. Aw. Angela said, yes, family feeling, family dinner, and family fun feelings. Um, Jillian says, I don't know if I'm allowed to ask, but does my spirit guide want to tell me anything? I'll try asking at least. Hope I can give more back in the future, hopefully in 1 to 2 months. Ah, excellent. Well, I always say you're definitely like chit chat, just like we were talking to Lily. And Lily, you're very, very welcome, by the way. Is trying to not feel ashamed about asking questions. Like, yes, we can ask them of other people, but try asking them of yourself. So, your spirit guides are your guides, which are just, again, extensions of your own energy. And so, never be afraid to feel like you're asking too many questions or what's an appropriate question for a spirit guide or appropriate question for my higher self or my guardians, things like this, which again are all just us. But I say keep asking. That's what our higher self loves, and that's something I've noticed. It doesn't matter if we are a negative polarity higher self or a positive polarity higher self or a neutral polarity. Curiosity is what they are. They want to know more, 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 more. So the more questions you ask, the happier they are. The more that you expand your own consciousness level is by the questions that you ask yourself. So I would say next time you go into meditation, maybe even while you're out and about on your walk today, or maybe when before you turn in for the night this evening, or Perhaps it's already this evening over there. I don't know. um, but I would say um, go in with the intention that I want to speak to the guide that is most connected to X, Y, or Z question or situation. Um, Please show me the version of myself that would be most knowledgeable in this area. Or perhaps you don't have any particular question in mind. You're just, I want to know what I need to know right now. And so you just leave it open ended. And um, the more you get comfortable with how the messages come through for you, because it's not the same for everybody. I see things in a lot of pictures and movies and songs, but that's not how everybody's intuition works. So you're just going to have to play around with it, where you're just sitting there for a while, and it's not that your mind is blank. It's just that you're open to any and all information coming through. You may feel something. You may hear a song lyric all of a sudden pop into your head out of nowhere. You may recall a memory. You may see an image or maybe a piece of a movie. I would say don't discount anything, um, but definitely take note of it before the logic mind jumps in, because your ego mind is going to be like, oh, that movie, I remember that movie. And it starts trying to remember every aspect of the movie. You're like, okay, yeah, thank you, ego. But the point of this meditation was not to remember 16 candles. The point was to get a message through from my higher self or my guides. Excuse me. Let me just grab a drink of water here. And after your meditation, definitely write down or journal as much as you can. And then you can try to get the logic mind involved in trying to figure out what those different symbols meant, while at the same time still utilizing your intuition. And the more you do that, and the more you get comfortable with what your intuitive voice sounds like and looks like, the easier it is to tap in. And then later on, when we're getting like readings from people, like, I still get readings from my friends and stuff. Yes, I can read for myself, but sometimes I need validation. I can get an intuitive message, but sometimes hearing it from another person is just confirmation of what I already knew. And sometimes the ego needs that. But yeah, definitely keep keep checking in, keep asking those questions. Billy says, John Cross, interesting. Maybe because we are more open minded rather than being so tied to society norms. Ah, Gemini says, we love you too, Mike. Always so warm. Mike Green is here. Hello, hello. Billy said, tickles, tingles, nudges, smells, seeing numbers, repeating, seeing similar things over and over again are all ways spirit can be connecting with me. Very nice. And Lily said, Tara, so true. Sometimes some of us need to be reminded. So true. Yes. And Jillian said, wow, yes, I will do so and try writing down. Seems to lead to a clearer picture. Exactly. And I think people get frustrated with meditation. I've had people who, I have my guided meditations, which we're about to do. And they say, oh, I always fall asleep. I can't meditate. And it's like, well, yeah, if you speak that into existence, sure, that's going to be true. If you keep saying, I can't do this, I can't do this, then yeah, it's going to be true. um, but the thing is it's a practice. That's why we call it a spiritual practice. We got to practice over and over. Sometimes it may take us a year, maybe 5 years before we figure out a good meditation practice for ourselves. And by the time you maybe figure out meditation, it doesn't mean that you're a pro at it. We keep practicing at it. My meditation is still evolving, even though, I've been meditating for probably well over 10 years. It's still different. Each time I'm still morphing and changing because my intuition is morphing and changing. So it's really just being patient. And it's the understanding that it's not that you can't do something, it's just that we need to practice more, and that's it. We need to find something that works for us. Maybe we need to start with guided meditations. That's why I do them during the live chats. Maybe I work best just listening to music. Maybe I just want to hear the sounds of nature and crazy hummingbirds. Um, maybe I just want peace and quiet, and that's the best for my meditation. So definitely try what works for you. And Jillian said, is meditating possibly also going for a walk, like working out Also, yes, there's different forms of meditation. For some people, it is just being quiet, in a nice quiet place. For others, they like to do walking meditations where they just clear their mind of kind of the to-do lists and things in the past and things in the future, and they're just being present. Present, listening to the birds, trying to tap in what's the bird's message. Oh, I look down, I see a flower that I wouldn't have seen if I was anywhere else but the present. So yeah, that is a form of meditation. And you may feel that once you get really good at that, maybe I want to go into a close-eyed meditation. um, but yeah, anything where the ego mind is shut off for the moment and you can be fully present and just feeling into your senses, just feeling into your intuition, I would say is a really good start for meditation. Angela says, "It so could be, John. Whatever makes you feel most relaxed." Oh, what did John say? John said, "The hard thing is confirming your own language, at least in my experience." Yeah, I feel that at first, like when I was first getting messages when I was meditating, I was like, I thought that was my imagination. And to some degree, it does utilize our imagination for us to be able to understand our own language. Um, but I think it just, you know, it's something that just takes time. Over time we become more confident in our own happen. And John said dancing, getting lost in a project, humming to yourself are potential ways to meditate. Yes. Patient. Hey, little guy. Oh, Lily says she's frozen. Oh, no. Okay, okay. Go ahead and get into a nice, comfortable space, a place where you will be not disturbed for the next several minutes. You could be lying down. You could be sitting in a chair. Maybe you're sitting on a pillow on the floor or lying under a tree in the grass. And I want you to bring your awareness to your breath. And for this, let's go ahead and take our right hand and place it over your heart. Take your left hand, place it over your solar plexus. Continue breathing. Today, the hummingbirds said they would like to help connect heart to solar plexus. And as you breathe in, feel your chest rise. And as you exhale, feel your abdomen and your chest fall. Just feel this gentle, rhythmic rise and fall. There's no thought that is needed, no writing down how to breathe in and how to breathe out. It is something that comes naturally to each and every one of us. And that when we breathe in, I want you to breathe this into your heart chakra, all this wonderful, nurturing, powerful energy. And as it moves in through your heart chakra, move it down into your solar plexus, just under your ribs. And as you begin to exhale, we exhale anything and everything that is no longer needed in that solar plexus and in that heart chakra. Anything that causes anxiety, worry, pressure, feelings of inadequacy, feelings of missing out, all released in that breath. And we breathe in again, filling the heart, filling the solar plexus, and again, releasing what no longer serves. And realizing that Mama Gaia, which also is an extension of you, will transmute that energy into something beautiful. Just like you have taken something from Mama Gaia that you have translated and transmuted into something beneficial and life giving for you. And here we have this beautiful cyclic relationship with the external self and the internal self. Continue breathing. And now, as you breathe, Hummingbird would like you to focus on the solar plexus. And imagine it like a beautiful golden chest, shining in the sun, almost blinding. Try to imagine this golden chest as in as much detail as you can. And as you gaze at this chest, you notice it has a beautiful lock on the front. And at first you try to open it, and you cannot. Find it difficult. Perhaps its golden lid is too heavy. And just as about you're ready to lose faith, you stick your hand in your pocket and you pull out a golden key. And you realize you were the holder of the key all along. And that this golden chest must belong to you. And that you've always had the ability to open it. And so open it you will. So you take your beautiful golden key and place it within this massive magical lock. And without much effort at all, it pops open. The lid feels as though it weighs nothing, yet solid gold it is. And as you peer inside this chest, rays of golden light come pouring out, dripping out, but also raising its rays to the sky. Your eyes twinkling as you look inside this golden chest. And you realize this golden chest lives within you, within your solar plexus. And if there was ever anything that you had a question about, or perhaps a question about your strength, or your ability to do something, or your capability in doing something, or figuring something out, all you need to do is open up this chest, which is you, and find out where that strength has been hiding and why it has been hiding. If I lack confidence in my ability to do something, why is that? And all you have to do is look in your solar plexus and see why it is hiding, how long it has been hiding. Why have you hidden it from yourself? Because within this chest, anything and everything is possible in this present moment, where time doesn't exist, where the past doesn't exist, and neither does the future. So if all is happening now, then you have the power to do whatever it is that you want. And so if you feel trepidation, In this next step forward, everything you need to find is within this solar plexus, within this golden chest. And the chest also understands that it's just as important to not only find one's strength, but to understand why we have hidden it from ourselves so that we can heal it. Go ahead and sit with this energy for as long as you need. And whether you would like to keep the chest open or the chest closed, the choice is up to you. But you will always hold the key, and you can never lose this key because this key is a part of you. So, next we move on into the heart. Perhaps you could walk up to the heart, or maybe you want to take an elevator up to the next floor, the heart chakra. And as we get closer into the space of the heart chakra, we're noticing a verdant landscape, emerald greens, beautiful shades of pale green and blue, seafoam greens, dark forest greens, and army greens. You've never seen a more lush landscape. Try to notice in as much detail the trees, plants, the grass, and any flowers you may see. And at first, you may be filled with worry. Well, whose beautiful landscape is this? Perhaps this is private property. Perhaps I'm not meant to be here. But seemingly from between the branches of the